report here, but in the pre-market, Tesla is higher in the pre-market, and as it is always, one of the most actively traded. Higher this morning only because it's taken such a beating over the past week or so. They finished off a pretty dismal year in Europe. Steep declines in several of the region's major markets for new car sales. The company registered only 1,942 cars last month in France. That's down 66% from a year earlier. Sales plunged 71% in Sweden, 44% in Spain. Deliveries dropping in all three countries for the full year. Now, analysts are expecting Tesla to report later today that its global vehicle deliveries fell around 11% in the fourth quarter. That's actually worse than the composite from Bloomberg analysts. Tesla took the unusual step earlier this week of publishing that analyst estimate that was pessimistic, again, calling for a 15% drop. Demand for Tesla slumping across most of Europe throughout last year, in part because of the blowback over the CEO, Elon Musk, and the things
Especially
that he had to say about Europe,
exactly.
and supporting some right-wing politicians there in countries including in Germany and the UK. As a result of this, it looks like China's electric vehicle maker, BYD, has surpassed Tesla in terms of the sales leader.
With the exception of the U.S., where BYD isn't being sold and probably unlikely to be sold in the near term, it seems like BYD is just going to take over the EV market globally. I mean, just take it over, because from what I'm hearing from car people, the quality's pretty darn good, and the price can't be beat because they're being subsidized by the Chinese government. That's pretty compelling there.
And the focus lately for Tesla, at least from the perspective of Elon Musk, has been on robo-taxi, which I really can't wait for.
I think so. And maybe there are some people who are really with high conviction, because I was with a friend over the weekend, and he said, I have a Tesla, but I bought it before all the political
Does he have a bumper sticker that says that?
I did ask him that.
I've seen a lot of those.
He said he doesn't, but he felt the need to justify that. I mean, I don't know. There's no data yet on that, but that could probably be impacting.
BYD is the company that was selling them for like $12,000.
Like they're $20,000 and $30,000, which compared to anything anybody else has, whether it's Volkswagen or General Motors or whatever, that's compelling. But Tesla stock up 19% last year. So Elon Musk, I think, has successfully, taken everybody's attention, investors' attention away from the fact of building cars and this other stuff, the autonomous driving and all that kind of stuff. So the robo-taxi, he's done a good job doing that. So good for him.
Let me move on to some of the furniture makers. They're getting a boost. Shares in RH, which Restoration Hardware, and Wayfair, ticker symbol W. President Trump delayed the tariff increases on upholstered furniture, kitchen cabinets, and vanities. The higher tariffs, they were supposed to take effect yesterday, but now set to take effect January 1st of 2027. This according to a White House fact sheet. Remember also with tariffs, we're still waiting for some word from the Supreme Court on tariffs overall, and those companies that already paid them could be due for a refund.
Trump was the taco thing back in the day. Trump always
chickens out.
Chickens out. Okay, so I mean, he just it seems like this. I think everybody's kind of figured out how to play this, which is he talks a big game to start to make news and all that type of stuff, and then walks it back to varying degrees, I guess.
Those two stocks I mentioned, Restoration Hardware and Wayfair. You know what? I have been in both of those stores radically. Wayfair, when I go in there, and I actually did buy a TV console. I negotiated the price with the salesperson,
really?
And knocked off like $100.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Was dented and everything. And then Restoration Hardware, I went in there, the one in Red Bank.
Yep.
It's basically a showroom. You can't walk out with anything. You have to order it there.
Right.
And you'd have to mortgage the house to get a couch.
Yes.
So some of the stocks that are on the move this morning.